Right? 20-25 साल से, yeah, well, let me just tell you. Now, this is about 25 years of me being out here. So good to be here. And is this a complete crowd? Yeah? How many of you actually have seen any of this? What is the average age here? What is the average age? I'm 45. Tell me, what is the average age here? 20. All right. So this is pre-Instagram. This is all pre-Instagram era. But I'll tell you something. When somebody asks me, will you come and have a chat here because of broadening the spectrum? I think what I've done over 20 years is a great example of trying to actually do things. I'll give you a little bit about my background. So I'm economics honors student, Delhi University. I was going to London School of Economics. Okay. So yeah, so the side note is that I was a decent student. All right. But then I go there and I realize that in my childhood, I'm a parrot. You know what a parrot is? What does a parrot do? No, parrot doesn't copy. Parrot is able to learn and then sort of just, speak every single line the same. So I suddenly realized life was not going to be very easy when you had to start doing in economics. You had 6 feet of notes per, here, in each subject that we had. So it made no sense. So I said, how long will I keep learning up stuff and then vomiting it out in exams? So this was 2000 when we had a different world and where the spectrum was very limited. You had to be a doctor, you had to be an engineer, and if you're a good student, you did an MBA and hopefully got picked up in various courses and you got a 3 lakh salary and you said, wow, this is great and this is my life. 10 years later, you'll get married. 20 years later, you'll have children. And then at 50, you're hoping the LIC policy becomes good for you. That was the plan that everybody had earlier, right? But there was another plan as well, and that was Bombay. And we all decided that, let's try and figure out what we can do in Bombay. There was a lovely gentleman called Mr. Amitabh Bachchan who opened the doors for all of us. When KBC happened, I think that changed the way our entire world could function. Why? Because you had people that could come into another world which had money, which is very important. When I left, studying, and I was in Delhi University. So Delhi University economics honors cut off for 88, 89, 90% back then. My parents thought I was mad. They said this ladka should have gone into, United Nations or a bank or, any one of these places. But I didn't have any interest in any of that. You were learning stuff, you were good at studies. That didn't mean that you were interested in that. So I remember Mr. Parigi, who was the head of Bennett and Coleman, and they were launching a very big radio station in Bombay. And that time, private FM radio had not started in India. Okay, so it was, Times was there everywhere, and they were looking to start it. And so he picked me up from Delhi, and he got me to Bombay. This was 2001, long time back, 2001, 2 we came. And when we came here, I realized that there was another world of opportunity that was there, which you could actually explore more stuff. So this is where the broadening started to happen. So I was a boy who grew up, watching Santa Barbara, watching Riviera, watching all these international shows, watching Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous by Robin Leach. I had no idea why I was sitting in Bombay. Till today, in a public forum, I'm ready to say that the first Hindi film I saw was Devdas, and not Shah Rukh Khan's Devdas. Was the first Hindi film I saw in a theater. I had not watched Hum Aapke Hai Kaun. I had not watched Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. I had not seen any of the Salman, Shah Rukh and Amir Khan films. We'd seen a little bit on TV, that's it. But here I was suddenly in Bombay, and I realized that an English-speaking boy from a convent school who did economics honors could suddenly come to Bombay and be on a primetime radio show, which was 5 to 9, which was the largest radio station in the country. And it was okay. It was fine. We were able to do it. 10 months later, I had that same story of standing on Juhu Beach and saying, what am I doing here? Because obviously, those days, 2001, 2, there was nothing actually. So if you didn't know anyone, it was very difficult to sort of make a name for yourself. So then we moved on a little bit further. Then my acting career, by mistake, took off. I was at a nightclub, which I had gone, and there was a great AXN. There was a channel that used to be AXN years back. Any of you remember that? Yeah. So that was a long time back. So they were doing this amazing show called Who Dares Wins, which Mike Whitney, this Australian cricketer, used to do, and Tanya Zait, and they were looking for Indian hosts. And I remember standing there and saying, why not host it? They said, this will be great. Why don't you do the audition parts? And I remember standing in a suburban hotel, 3 nights in a row. What was I getting? I was getting 5,000 rupees cash, food and drinks. I said, this is great, man. 3 days. Your food is done. Everything is perfect. I do that, and this is where the opportunities start to come in. I do those 3 days, and the Southeast Asia head of AXN said, why is he auditioning people? Get him in the show. I said, wow. I said, sure, why not? Let's do it. And then I found out there was prize money. Prize money. There was a certain amount that was there for the prize money. I said, great, this is prize money. We can take part. It's fine. But of course, I was still working with the radio station, so it was illegal. So of course, I was lying and going there, and I didn't know anything would happen. Those days, we had an afternoon newspaper in Bombay, years back, which is now shut down. So I go in that day, and suddenly we see I win. And they publish it the next day in the newspaper. And you're working with a very big media house. You can't really lie, right? So they said, what have you won and done? Why have you won? Now that you won, what are you going to do? I said, no, this was just the regional finals. The national finals, to kuch nahi hoga, because people all over India are going to come. So of course, we'll cut a long story short, and we walk in there, and we suddenly realize that I win. And so I said, okay, so this is one now. Now we're on TV, right? So we go on TV and we do this show all over India, and you get very excited. You're traveling everywhere. Nobody knows you, of course. Of course, there's a lot of publicity. You come in the front page of a newspaper, all the big names that you thought about, and you get very excited. People at home suddenly think that, arey, what he's doing is worth it. We can tell people that he's doing it. But there again, there was we didn't really know what we were doing. So when you say that, is there a way to do what we were doing? Is there a course? Is there a school? There's nothing. So I want to tell you right now, there is no school that can make you a radio jockey. There is no school that can make you an actor. There is no school that can make you do anything which will guarantee you getting work in front of it. Technical? Yes. You can AD for someone. You can become a director. You can become a cameraman. You can become a writer. All that is there. You can learn all that. But in front, there's nothing. It's luck. I was in the bathroom. I came out and I met this lovely girl, Ishita Arun. Now she's become a great, she's doing a lot of content work. But back then, her mother and she were there, and she said, will you become a VJ? I said, okay, why not? How much are you going to pay me? So they gave a certain amount. I said, great, this money is coming from there. This is coming from here. Why not do this? Because now I have double of what I was making in radio. So let's leave radio and let's move there. We go there a week later. Very big channel head comes and says, will you do this show called Ye Meri Life Hai? Years back, 2003. I said, should we do it? What am I going to get per day? Fine, great. What happens? Your face is going to be on hoardings. So we had hoardings all over Bombay, and we said, wow. 1.5 years back, I'm standing on Juhu Beach and wondering, what are we going to do? Because the spectrum and the horizon is very limited. Now suddenly, the world is my oyster and the ocean is opened up. And then you do 5-6 years of this where suddenly you become famous or whatever. You do Kasauti, you do Kyunki, you do all these big K shows that your mothers used to watch and their mothers used to watch. You're walking on the streets of Mumbai and you go, wow, can I have a gola? And all the paparazzi that is there today, which is all fake, that time it was all real. When you actually went out, then you're doing these shows, people were crazy. They loved it. I came back from Malaysia shooting. I was standing at the airport one day and somebody just screamed my character name Prem. Long. And I just looked back and I said, is he talking about me? And I just come back from Malaysia. I said, how is it possible? One episode is telecast. One. And that's the madness that there was. So, which by the way, for posterity's sake is still there now also. If you go back, and this is 2004, 21 years ago what we did. We are looking the same right now and you're just doing reruns. You go to Malaysia, you go to Indonesia, they're playing reruns of that right now. So when you land there, suddenly people come and say hi to you. You say, why is he saying hi to me? Because he's watching it for the first time there. That's how this world works. So imagine that one innocent little saying yes to one gentleman, 3 days for food and for drinks. Suddenly 2 years later, you're out there. So things happen, right? And this is where I think very important for all of you all to, we all make mistakes. You make mistakes, you're young. And when you're talking about 20 years back, there's also a world that existed there that was literally this. If the door opened for you by one of these big stars, and if they sort of backed you, that was it. Then only you could do something. Otherwise, there were no other doors opened. And I want to tell you right now also, even now it will be very, very difficult for you to actually do it because now everyone in this room will probably say that I can become a filmmaker or a writer or anything that you want, right? When you go out there. Or in our media world. But on the other world also, the number of people standing in line, even that have MBA degrees and engineering degrees, are just standing without a job. Why? Because there are so many people. When we were there were 50 people. So you're lucky. But the other world that exists now also gives you more opportunities, right? So there, it's like, you got to weigh the pros and cons. So we do that, and I remember thinking about a lot of things that could have happened in my life, So to cut a long story short, 2007-8, the world went through an entire financial crisis, we all know. Do you all know the financial crisis that happened in 2008? Okay. So one of the biggest worlds that got impacted was the media world. Because all the funding used to come from outside for that. Corporates had just come in. So when the funding stopped coming in, all of us were wondering, what are we going to do? It's all right to say that, I'm reaching out for the stars and the book, The Secret. If I think I'll manifest, everything will happen. It doesn't happen like that. When people say they manifest, you can't manifest sitting outside looking at a big superstar's house saying that one day I will have this house. It does not work like that. One day I will work hard. I will work hard every single day. Everyone that is the most talented in this country comes to Bombay. So everyone that you know, you have to just take it as a given. Everyone is super talented. Are you going to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and then come and work? Yes. Today, on an average, I wake up at 4:30 every morning. Both my kids go to school. I go to work for radio at 6 a.m. in the morning. I work on an average 16, 17 hours a day. I will put in the work also in the gym, not for anybody else, just for myself, so that the blood keeps flowing, right? That's the way you've got to work. And remember, you've got to do this all your life. When people say they want a work-life balance, I don't quite understand what that work-life balance is. This is a brand new phenomenon in 2020. You may have a work-life balance when you've done something. Then you can balance it out. You at least, so it's not like you start work-life balance 12 months in a year, 6 months kaam karenge, 6 months chill karenge. Whenever those Instagram videos come out, I gave up everything. And I went on a lovely vacation and sold everything. Have you gone back to them 2 years later and seen, are they still on vacation? That's the important part to find out. So you've got to learn to balance various things in life, but you also have to understand कि क्या ये मैं इसको sustain कर पाऊंगा? If you stay in a city like, a metro, ultra competitive. You leave and go for a holiday, somebody else comes and takes your place. And no matter which industry you are in, you've got to be very careful about what you do. And then either you're so good, which you assume that you are irreplaceable, or, which is, by the way, a big fallacy, or you work so hard that they just know that you're going to come in an hour or two earlier and leave an hour or two later. What you do in the middle is your business. But once you've reached a certain stature to be able to, now a lot of statements are being made by a lot of very big people. But I promise you this, I don't know one single person, not even one person, even Akshay Kumar, for example, wakes up at 3:30 in the morning. I do not know one person that does a normal work day and has reached very high in his life. You've got to do something extra. Usain Bolt, he wasn't doing what the others were doing. And that's how he went forward. Rahul Dravid said an amazing thing once, which is what stuck in my head also. 10,000 shots of the cover drive. 10,000. And then you perfect it. You know how long it takes to hit the ball 10,000 times? And you know how many shots there are for a batsman? So similarly, whenever you're also putting in your work out there and trying to think, in my case also, where I would go, I was having to do something 10 times over. Today, I'm running 2 sports leagues, and there's a very big Bollywood actor who's my partner in one of the leagues. MMA. You all know about MMA? Yeah. So apparently, look at these lovely words that come out. Fastest growing sport in the world. Every gym has MMA classes and all that. Do you know how many sponsors I have? I've done 16 of them. Cost me in excess of $100,000 to do an event. One event. Do you know how many sponsors I have? Take a wild guess. How many sponsors do I have? For each event? 0. Nobody. Why? Because it's not cricket. Because it's something they don't understand, right? So they say, I remember recently I had a gentleman who came up to me and said, I love the idea of what you're doing. This is out of the box thinking. I said, excellent, sir. So 50% we'll give you money for your idea because it's a genius idea. 50% we want collateral. I said, what do you mean you want collateral? आप कितने घर है sir, उसका collateral चाहिए हमें. In case we don't recover the money. I said, really? I thought you all wanted to support sport. So we are supporting 50%. I said, really? And this is a fact. And this is me going everywhere on my own. And I realized that this is crazy. So I started my own league, which was boxing. I said, let me put my own money in it. Again, I went out. Same people. Comes on a very big, broadcast channel that you saw just now. So everything is there. The IPL team comes and works with me. How many sponsors did I get? None. Thoda aur bana do na, Salil. Just make it a little bit bigger. Then we'll have people come in. I said, this is a chicken and egg story. If I make it big, I don't need you. I'll keep running in circles like this. And that is why everybody else makes a cricket league always. Cricket to samajh mein aata na logon ko. So when you broaden your horizon and your spectrum, which is trying to do things that are not in your, realm of thinking, you are going to face big trouble. And now why people take me serious now? They said, "Isne apna paisa dala hai because ye pagal hai." That's what they actually think. But when it becomes big, then they say, "Hey, you knew that this guy would be very big." So you got to take these risks. Now, how many risks can I take? I have 2 kids. I'm running 2 households here, 1 there. So you have to take calculated risks. Unfortunately, you take as much as you can. I tell people this also. Before you get married or before you have children, basically, take all the risks that you want to take after that. After that, you've got to always take, certain risks. You can't just do whatever you feel like. Because you've got to think, if you're the only earning member or if you're the primary person that is thinking of everyone's future, you've got to mitigate those risks. And that is a fact of life. No matter what anybody tells you. You just cannot suddenly say, "Aaj main sab chhod ke aage chale jaunga." So you look at broaden your horizons on one side and then you also keep something on the side. So my radio still goes on. My television hosting is still going on. All that is still going on while I'm trying to build these leagues on the left. Will this league happen? 2020, we've been at it. The world over. Dana White took 20 years. 20 years for UFC to get sold. 20 years of putting his own money in. That's a long time. I'm only 4 years old. So I'm hoping that I also have another 15 years and some more people come in. But that happened. Now let me just tell you also the other things that I've done where you will not believe that this is, they say luck is a very important part. So I was working out in a gym and I had a gentleman who was, I used to like, "Acha lift kar raha hai, let me learn something from him." We got talking and we find out that he actually has helped, he runs the in-flight entertainment for one of the biggest airlines that we'd ever seen, which is no longer there now. Do you understand which one it is? No, the other one. I didn't have Mr. Malia sitting next to me, man. That would have been something else. But yeah, so the other airline, which also shut down. So I actually designed the entire in-flight entertainment for them. I created what you saw on that entire entertainment panel. We did all that. We did amazing stuff. The channel, forget that. The airline shuts down. And I'm sitting going, how can an airline shut down? And they owe me money. And I'm going, the airline is shut. So obviously, I'll get paid. Obviously, right? Well, we're in 2025, we're waiting. So then we have another airline that comes up, which is now Air India. We make a lot of stuff for them as well. But I've realized something that, imagine, I'm running solo an entire airline. In fact, I thought I was the cat's whiskers. मैं ही तो चला रहा हूं. वो बंद हो गया. पैसा भी नहीं. So you think there's something wrong. 3-4 years back, when Avarapan had come out, few years before that, very big critic wrote, "The next new face of Bollywood is here." You type now also, you type reviews for the film, you'll find out. I said, wow, that's it. Mohit Suri, me, Imran Hashmi, I'm going to kill it. You know how many phone calls I got? Absolutely. Why? Because I have done a B-grade film, which today is one of the biggest cult films that there is. They said, "Nahi sir, no, you do that and this." So I said, "You said do the biggest." I was nominated at award functions. I'm sitting with Mr. Bachchan somewhere and saying, "Wow, yaar, I'm getting nominated." Nothing. So then you go back in. So it's very easy to say, I have a plan. And these are, just imagine, this is a boy from Delhi, from economics honors. 6 years later, he's nominated for awards for Avarapan. If he is not getting stuff, then imagine what the others are going through. And that's when I realized, boss, आपको अपना backup plan खुद ही बनना पड़ेगा forever के लिए. और अब मेरा backup plan ऐसे है, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. If you want to support, don't support, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Now let me throw another beautiful, little line at you all. Last year, I realized, these creators are coming in, they become very big. So, yaar, हमारा काम कम होते जा रहा है, because the creators are fantastic. They got their own, lovely world that they exist. So I said, let me now take up the entire sports league of cricket also. So I jumped into the T10 leagues. Abu Dhabi T10, this T10, that T10. So we started doing stuff. Excellent. We're doing all this. Suddenly Abu Dhabi says, "Can you come over here and pick up the tender of construction?" I said, "Construction?" I said, "What do you want me to construct?" "The gates of the Sheikh Zayed Stadium." I said, "The gates I have to construct." "Yeah, that's the only way in." So I tell my team, which is, by the way, shooting team and, audio team, "Can we make gates?" They said, "Bhai, abhi, let's broaden our," right? This is your spectrum. So I went to Abu Dhabi. I hired workers from Oman. I hired workers from Sharjah. And they're telling me, "Today we are eating now. for 2 hours. I said, yeah, but we have to finish this right now. No, we are eating for 2 hours. And I'm standing there and I had no clue. But we have made those gates. So if you ever go to the stadium to see those gates, they are us. So I went to Abu Dhabi and I told my parents, अब मैंने construction भी कर दिया, ये gate मेरा आ गया. Because road तो मैं बना नहीं सकता. So my point is, when I came back, my team was saying, what have we done? I said, we don't do. See, either you have a lot of people that are backing you, or you've just been incredibly lucky with your stock market. I'm also a broker. 25 years I've been in the stock market. You don't make money in the market. Okay, let me tell you this much. You make and then you spend and then it goes. When it goes, you don't have it with you. So we've tried everything. But you've got to also believe that you are the fill in the blanks for everything. Jahan pe bhi gap mile, utilize that, pick up the work first, figure it along the way. I'll tell you an amazing thing. During COVID, of course, everyone else was out there doing work and then suddenly they had no work. Suddenly we have to figure out how to do work via technology. Now trust me, shooting on technology today seems very easy. 2020, April, I was trying to shoot something in Australia. I was at the mercy of the people in Australia. What did my team have to do here? We've got to learn. We were downloading new softwares and learning on the spot because we had no option. Because we had to give the color grading that the team wanted. Otherwise, the team would have actually gone there. So it was a gap and we kept trying to fill the gap. And that gap kept getting filled. Let me also tell you what people thought about me. What did they tell me? But you are an RJ, na? I said, okay. So then how can you do all this? So I said, so what you're actually trying to say is that I don't make enough money to be able to do all this and to be able to get this contract. That's what they meant. So I said, yeah, forget about what my salary is. My question is, how can you have these kind of thoughts? So the prejudices that people have are very high in the industry. I'll tell you, even when you try to go for admissions and all that, you're a banker and all that. Yes, sir, please. Red carpet. But for us, even for loans, initially, I remember years back, 2004, I bought my first house. I only got an 8-year loan. Why? Sir, aap na wo actor hai. I said, so? मेरा पैसा अच्छा नहीं है क्या? नहीं, कल आएगा कि नहीं आएगा आपका पैसा? I said, वो तो यार जो काम कर रहा है उसको भी तो वो सैक कर सकते हैं ना? नहीं सर, बट कंपनी है ना वो. So I have faced this then also. And mine was a case study. Thankfully, the general manager of that bank was very good. He said, no, we must do this and all. And actually, when they gave that to me, I was so happy. But again, there were lots of little caveats. Na, ye aapko agar aisa hoga, vaisa hoga. So I still realized then also that I am a minority. When people talk about professions, we may assume that Mumbai is a city where, say, the media is a majority. No, it is still considered a minority. And that's the thing that you have to fight. So on the whole, I always say that, you cannot say no. None of you all should say no. You see something, you should try and do it. You will lose the first or second time, but there is no way that you can say no. You must not say no. Don't fool yourself. Don't try to think that this will be done without putting in the hard work. Like, for example, when you're making the gates, I was standing there and saying, how am I going to put this up? Because when the crowd was leaving, one or two people smashed the gate. So then the organizers came to us saying that the gate is broken. I said, so? No, you have to make it again. I said, but like we made it and we've gone, right? They said, yeah, but the tournament is not over. The tournament is over in 3 days. So you still have to make it again. So imagine the frustration. We're sitting here and we're trying to do this and trying to basically say that we're good people, honest people. They don't care. They want the work done. So 3 biggest learnings in my life. Nobody cares. They don't care about you all. Okay? Be your own backup. You stand in front of yourself, stand behind yourself, stand on the side, and that's it. Don't cry. You want to cry, you cry alone. Nobody cares. But if ever you can help people, and this was one of my biggest things when I came into Bombay, I wanted to be what others couldn't do for me. Not a godfather, but if I could help people, I said, I must help people. So you help as many as you can, but don't expect anything in return. You will not get anything in return. But if every person tries to help somebody, eventually koi na koi nikal aata hai yaar. And that's why I feel in the last 20 odd years, because we went with a very honest thought. We never tried to cheat people. We always tried to do what we could. Work just kept coming to us non-stop. I'll give you an example. Spotify. When they launched in 2019, 2020, they had commissioned 3 shows. One was mine, one was Gaurav Kapoor's, Mine was off script with Salil. Gaurav was doing a cricket show, and Harsha Bogle's show. Harsha sir was doing a show. Suddenly the COVID came, right? So they were saying, oh God, now what do we do? So they said, is your show ready? So my show, which was going to be the biggest podcast that they were launching, because it was going to be India's answer to Joe Rogan's show, it had to start without any publicity. Before anybody knew it, already 4 episodes are out. I still did 90 episodes, but it just didn't matter. And who did I get? I got Sadhguru, I got everybody, all these big names came on my show. But there was no publicity. But even now, if you go on Spotify, ad to mera hi play hota hai wo. Off script with Salil, that is my ad playing. Bas mere shows nahi hote wahan. Because we thought, oh my God, Spotify has come fantastic, we'll get hoarding. It was a huge marketing plan. But then what happens to us? COVID comes. Kabhi airline band ho jati hai, kabhi COVID aa jata hai. So you're just going, yaar, luck ka to kuch garbad hai. But then I'm thinking, yaar, but paisa to aa raha hai na usme. So my question is, sometimes it doesn't come like you think it should. You know, you think that this is how it should be and that's how it should be. It doesn't always happen like that. I was watching a video the other day of one of these very good actors, Vineet, very strong actor. And he was crying. He said, you know, I wish I could have all this. But I didn't wait for somebody to knock on my door. After Ashiki 2 also, it didn't matter. I had one of the biggest casting directors say, but yaar, tu to itna bada actor tha, ab tune ye chota role kyun kar diya? This is what he told me. I said, sir, 10 saal ho gaya, abhi tak log mere par can phek rahe hain. To matlab impact to isse hi hua na. And I'll give you a real story. I ran out of the screening saying, what have I done? I shouldn't have done this. What is this comeback? I've helped a friend, but what have I done? Because I was embarrassed. I was very honest. And of course, the industry people will say, hey, sir, 5 minutes is enough for you. I said, sir, thanks. But it really did help. And I came back and said that nobody remembers Avarapan because it's 18 years ago. It may be cult in the books. But if you play that song and then we have people throwing a beer can at you and say, oh, thanks, that's my identity. It doesn't matter what corporate position I have, all these leagues I'm running, nothing. What am I? I'm reduced to a beer can. Sir, aap wo hai na? Haan, main wo hu. But you've got to take it in your stride. You can't let your ego come in. That is another big problem that people have here. Main ye nahi karunga yaar. Just yesterday only, one of the anchors who was the main anchor for a very, very big show, 7-8 years back, he used to run after me for bites. Today, he was the big anchor. And yesterday, I was doing red carpet. But there's no ego problem, yeah? We're very good friends. And you have to understand that life is a cycle. Even if you try and breach the impossible gap, you know, kabhi na kabhi to wo gap khatam bhi ho jayega. Naye log bhi aayenge, aur bhi log aayenge. There'll be a fight and they'll keep fighting. And you've got to keep on bringing your own ego down. Because if you allow the ego to stay there, you can stay in Timbuktu, Indore or Bombay. It doesn't matter, man. It's over. You know, and I remember the biggest learning from my father when I was young. I come from a family that was self-made. The previous generation was in the army. So they didn't see money. But of course, they saw stature. Army and lawyers and all that. You know, so this is a boy suddenly who went into this line. They said, yaar, tumhe respect chahiye hota to you would have become your IPS officer. You would have become in the army. You went for money. So now don't cry and say that people are not respecting me. He said, you have to earn their respect. And in some cases, unfortunately, you have to buy the respect. And I realized this how. When I bought a couple of houses in Mumbai, about 15, 20 years back, 2 houses in Mumbai, huge houses, no SMS, no, those days, I don't know if WhatsApp was there, Facebook or nothing. I bought a big car in 2009. Oh my God. The whole world should have, sir, you arrived. I said, I bought 2 houses. Ye to mera supposing EMI par li hoti? No. Bought a car. Perception matters, but make sure that it doesn't overcome you and engulf everything of yours. You know, yes, have that car and all, but don't be foolish. Otherwise, what happened in COVID? I saw people had taken 90% loans and it all got over. So this is what I say, that make the risks, take your risks and keep doing as much as you can, because there is no day that you can ever say in a state or a city like Mumbai that you have arrived. You can't. I promise you that. You cannot. Or you should not care only. I don't think anybody in this room says it doesn't care. I mean, they want something, right? Like I want a book written on me. When I do something that is big enough, maybe one day somebody will come to me. मेरे हिसाब से तो मैंने बहुत कुछ कर लिया है. But 90% of the audience does not know me. Now you see this video and you'll say, yeah. This is what happens. So over a period of time, you have to understand, 3 decades is a long time, 30 years. When people tell me I've been working for 20 years, I said, yeah, I'm 45 and I've been working for 25 years. Officially, in a company, 30 years I've been working. So what's the big deal? 20 years is not a big deal. When you complete 40, 50 years of working, that is a big deal. Let me tell you that much. 20 years to you nikal jayenge. And then by that time, you'll be thinking, have I arrived in life? So that's all. It's all a very big, beautiful world out there, but it's a fight. And when you get that fight going, I wish I could give you a rosy picture, saying that, hey, it'll all happen. No, bro. I thought it happened with me 20 times. In this video only you'll see. But no, it happens again and again and again. And that is the beauty of it. Just fight hard. And always remember, all these bodybuilders, Kai Green is somebody who has to really follow very well. He said it is that, or even, LeBron James and, Kobe Bryant, of course, not a single one of them did what the others did. They just kept doing much more and more and more and more and more and more. And then one day it was just so much that they had no option, that they just burst through the door. That is what you should do. Okay, that's it.